Hello, thanks for tuning in and listening. Ellie here from my car on my way to work, and just waking up, it feels like still. I had a really sweet night reconnecting with some old friends. Honestly, I'm in two different worlds, but my oldest friends from different chapters of my life. Um, that have known me longest. Those two people have been in separate kind of place, not friends themselves, but I like had the two worlds come together, which was really sweet and comforting. And then they knew mutual people too, because it's a small world in St. Louis. People know each other. But yeah, it was really sweet. It was very nostalgic and comforting being with familiar faces who've known me for so long. Um, there's an unspoken knowing there and also a spoken knowing too, but just when you've seen someone grow throughout that much time, and they're also, that they're the same too, it's there's change, and also there's that core essence that's stays the same. um, yeah, just feeling that extra degree of comfort and silliness and play, which I like to be in that state as much as possible with whoever, but old friends and family, there's a different every person, every relationship, there's a different dynamic, a different connection, a different way of relating and communicating and being, and it's good to have a consistent, solid self, and but I've always felt like a chameleon, and that I can adjust and adapt to my environment pretty good. But yeah, I was up pretty late, so I'm a little tired because of that, But I kind of like when I get less sleep sometimes, because I feel so relaxed. I don't feel anxiety, which is cool. I just feel very mellow. Because I often feel pretty anxious inside myself. I often feel this tension, and I feel like I'm doing my best to move through all of the things in life, and the feels and the circumstances and stresses and struggles and whatever it is that that's coming up for me to look at, address, confront, acknowledge, and but it's a lot sometimes. I get overwhelmed, and I feel like I just can spiral or ruminate or get stuck in some kind of pattern or thing, so yeah, less of that, more stillness, quiet, peace, presence. And so yeah, when I have less sleep after having a good night too, there's a sense of quiet, I'm still, my body didn't get as much sleep as it normally would, so it's a little more and I like that feeling, and I wish I could feel like that more often, because I feel like I'm buzzing around like a hummingbird bee, just going. And I know that's a lot of that has to do with stress and trauma and CPTSD and just experiencing things that shocked my system and rewired it in ways, and memories can get trapped in our body and get stuck in there, and when we get stuck in our heads or in this anxiety, usually there's some underlying emotional thing that I feel like the anxiety can be a protective mechanism for, or there's something that maybe, or it's just almost like a form of self-sabotage, self-harming, of staying stuck in the story of something's wrong, or I can't do it, or I'm just overwhelmed, or I don't have the skills or the resources or whatever, that I'm just maxed out, burnt out, whatever, which is very real, not to discredit and say it's all in our minds. It's in our heads, yes, it is, a lot of it's in our brains, and but then even our brains health has to do with our gut health, and how the microorganisms and the bacteria and just our cellular nourishment and on all the levels, the vitamins and minerals and all these things impact our nervous system, our brain, our everything. So it's a lot of factors, a lot of things going on all the time, and but yeah, it's outside of all the complexity and the details and the things. It's I feel I say this, and I want to be inspiring that it's a choice, right? We get to choose where we put our mental focus and energy. And then also for people who have been through like trauma and are still living in an environment that's toxic, you can't just like think your way out of it. I mean, you could think your way out of the situation, I guess, but when you're not functioning at the highest capacity because you have mold poisoning maybe, or like just PTSD, or you're limited financially, or whatever it is, it's a lot harder to get out of situations. And not to say that you can't, like people come from absolute nothing and build something for themselves, and that's like will, that's someone's will. And yeah, their access to certain resources and information and people and connections. I mean, so much in life is who it's who you're connected with, and how you show up, and your choices, and yes, your thoughts, and your health, mind, body, spirit. And but I don't know, I do try to be very positive in that, like anything's possible, like have hope and have the direction, the discipline, and the practice. Put the practices in place to create something new out of the rubble or the whatever it is that's the ashes, of everything being lost and gone, even where it's like all burnt in a cleansing fire. It's like out of nothing, like there still is something can grow out of that. And the most fertile soil comes from the aftermath of these things. So it's I think a lot of it has to do with patience too, and being able to slow down and be present where we are, and be in a state of gratitude for what we do have, and not to undermine the things that aren't going, but acknowledge the things that are frustrating, and not just be like bypassing the harsher realities, but like coming into our hearts and finding that place of like love and connection and belonging within ourselves first and foremost, and imagining like if we don't have that in our direct reality, like what do I want to offer to others so that I can receive it too? Because so much in life is like we're not going to get something that we're not giving also. I mean, maybe we will, but and then we take it for granted. Even like from a lot of my life, I didn't even know what I had because I wasn't in a state to even fully receive it and know how to even give it back. I was immature and ignorant and young, and I just didn't know better. And I think so much in this world is people just not knowing better, not having the awareness or the intellectual understanding or of emotions, and which, yeah, you can be aware of it mentally, but it's the practice of feeling our feelings and listening to ourselves and connecting with ourselves, and then being able to connect with others from that place. And get outside of ourselves too. It's like when I'm so spinning, stuck in my own, and then it's like someone else in need comes to me, or I like connect with someone or cross paths with another human that I don't want to share. I mean, like I have friends that I'll share my struggles with, and then it's a reciprocal where it's like I hold space and listen to them as well. It's not just one-sided. Like I'll but like out in the world, if like I see someone having a hard time, or they seem like they're struggling, or I just cross paths with a random stranger, like I can get out of myself in that moment, and it's not about me and my suffering. It's about me being present for this other person. And like I had a client the other day, and like I had so much anxiety that morning. I was feeling terrible, and then I showed up and I realized like he was really needing me in that moment, and not to discredit what I was going through, because I shared a little bit about stuff, but really like I'm, as my client too, like I'm there for him. But we have a really neat relationship where I'm open with him about my life and things, and he shares with me, and it's been over years of time that this has become a thing. But I come to his home and clean, and he doesn't leave the house much, and he doesn't really have a social life. So it's like I'm the main source of like connection that he has, and I really like, I have extra awareness when I show up. It's for him, and but yeah, so I got out of myself, right? It's like, okay, this isn't about me. Like it is, like I have my experience, but also like, all right, I'm showing up for this person. He's in the process of a move right now, so even more so I'm like, poof, okay, Ellie, this man is going through it. Like this like, shit helped me like shift out of like the self focus to how can I be of support, how can I help this person, just being very present, attentive, attuned to his needs, And because what anyone really wants or needs is like that attunement, to be someone, be aware of them, and co-regulation, is to feel like someone else's peace brings us peace. It's if we're feeling all frazzled out, or it's we're just able to talk through to get it out, whatever, and we feel like someone is there with us in that experience. It's so powerful, and I want more of that for all of us. Like more co-regulation, more healthy connection, more honest expression, authenticity. Just connection to self and other in a way that is mutually beneficial, and it promotes expansion and growth and learning, and simply like being and connecting, and accepting like where we're at as we are with the people that we're with, and finding forgiveness for those who couldn't offer us that because they didn't know better. They didn't have the skill set or the resources or the awareness, and honestly they probably went through even more traumatic things than I had to go through, because you go back in time even further, and it's even less like access to information and resources that have helped me, shift out of these certain patterns, and I still struggle with it. So it's like, it's not easy to do better than what you've been shown or what's been. It's hard work. Like, it is work to build something out of whatever you were dealt. And at the same time, I think the biggest lesson lately for me is, amidst the intensity and the things, it's like, how can I also like as much as possible, like play, like, and I, in general, like I have a playful spirit. Like I want to go out in the world, I just want to connect and play, but sometimes I feel like I get so serious and stuck in whatever it is in my head that I think something is, and I spiral and I loop, and it takes sometimes someone else pulling me out of that, or even just holding space and then reminding me, like, it's okay, like I'm here and it's going to get better. And this is an absurd world that we live in. It's an absolute absurdity what's happening. If you look at it, it's like, is this like, who's script writing this? Like what's are we for real? Like, and also, like, how do we even know that what we're being told is true and real? Like, most of the news and history has an agenda to distort or to distract or to divide, or further instill a certain story or reality that's already existed, that's not conducive to life and to harmony and to Gaia, and just like, there's just so much pollution and illusion and lies, and amidst that, though, it's like, okay, in contrast, there is truth, there is beauty, there is joy, there is laughter, there is love, and how can I focus on these things as much as possible so I can bring more of this into the world, instead of cycling in the pain and suffering of the sickness and wars, which, at this point, like, there's like World War III has already started a long time ago. Like, it's been going on, and it's mental, it's physical, it's spiritual. And then there's there's all these different wars that have been going on. There's a lot of war energy, right? There's like, there's internal war, that we all wrestle with, and then there's like, there's spiritual warfare. There's just so many forms of conflict going on, and so it's like, I don't want to bring more of that into my world, my bubble, or the world at large. And I found that, like, unconsciously, out of doing what's familiar or habitual or what's been shown to me or what I've been, just like whatever existed, like, I know that it's more familiar. It feels like on a my nervous system realm but my spirit realm is like more connected to the peace, harmony, balance, those places. But my body, my nervous system is more familiar with the chaos and struggle and conflict, and we can unconsciously recreate that because it's familiar, and we almost find comfort in the familiarity of what we know. And outside of what we know is a little scary sometimes, because it's like a mystery. It's unknown. It's a new territory to explore, which is there's risk involved. There's fears. There's and just feeling vulnerable in general. It's like, okay, I strip down all of the layers and the all the different things that I built up around myself to create safety, and underneath that is a very soft, gooey, vulnerable creature. But I found I had some like slugs coming to me for a little bit during a time that I was really like, this was coming up a lot, and the lesson of like this slug is like, its defense mechanism is its like vulnerability. Like it's evolved in a certain way that's, if it's found its niche way of being that is actually like helpful for it, and that there was like medicine and being like just like the slug, like slow when going back to slowing down, and I don't know, it's interesting, and how every piece of life has its unique niche way of existing that benefits it and the environment that it's in, and that it has this little world that it's part of, and there's so many little messengers, little things we can learn from nature, the different aspects of self, and and there's pros and cons to I don't know. Okay. I just said a lot of things. 15 minutes, that's a good amount of time. I think I'm gonna close this out. And that yawn just kind of hit me. I was like, okay, your brain, you got things that you're saying and feeling, and also I'm finding like people and their patience could be more patient. Oh, I don't know, it just goes right through me when I hear a horn. It's like my own shock to the system. Like, we're exposed to so much that is like so stressful and triggering. And it's like, to survive in this world, it's like, oh, you gotta just numb it out, desensitize yourself. That's what most people have done, right? Because it's like, if you really are sensitive and feeling it all, taking it all in, it's like, whoa, ow, this is a lot of toxins, and even like, trusting my body to process and all these different things on the physical, spiritual, energetic level. But it's a lot sometimes. I just feel so, I don't want to say too sensitive, but sometimes it's felt like I'm being, and I've been told that before, and by someone who I didn't have the capacity to be a good friend or partner or person. It was, I was constant invalidation and dismissal, and I went through that for like 3 years, and that really did affect me, and feeling this conflict of me knowing what I was feeling was valid, and I wanted someone to affirm that and hear that, and I kept reaching for that in him of like, no, like, please just hear me. I'm not crazy. I'm not too sensitive. I'm not, like, just make sense with me of this, like, lean into, curiosity of like why, and but he couldn't, and I foolishly or whatever, I just kept putting myself in that situation because it was familiar, and that's like what I grew up with. My parents did their best, and they're great people, but they didn't know how to hold me and really be there for me in times that I needed it, and they still don't, and they try their best, like, they mean well, but they just don't know the right words to say or how to say them, and they could know. That's what's frustrating. Like, you could read a book about it, you could go watch some videos about it, you could go learn about it. Like, you want healthier relationships, go figure it out. It's not that hard. You literally Google certain things, ask ChatGPT. That's the whole thing. Talking with AI, I maybe shouldn't have, whatever. I find it as a great tool for things, but you're making me mad, it makes me sad, fucking shit. But I have cut off to this person, which took me a long time to get to that place, like a really long time, but it felt good. The last time we talked, I was like, no, like, I had already had him blocked. He randomly popped in after our last conversation was terrible. He said awful things, and then he calls me like nothing happened through like star 67, because you can get through to any phone number if you star 67 before, which maybe whatever. I knew that originally from prank calls back in the day, but anywho, so I don't know why I answered. Was curious. I was like, what does he want, and so bizarre. Doesn't bring up anything that was talked about last. Doesn't apologize, doesn't acknowledge it, and asked me if we can go to see this horror movie, which I don't like horror movies. There's a few movies I've watched that are a little disturbing, but like, I got something out of it. But in general, I don't like scary movies. Asked me to go see this movie with him tonight because he can't find anybody else, and he wants, as a friend, can we just do this? I'm like, what? What? Like, what are you, I don't want you as a friend. I don't want you in my life. I don't want to watch a scary movie with you. I don't want to hang out with you. Like, the last time you talked to me was insane, and you're not going to acknowledge anything. Like, no. Like, stay away from me. Do not call me. Leave me alone. And it felt really good. It felt really good to be very solid in that I don't want anything from you. Because in the past, I was so afraid to let him go that I was like, oh, maybe we can just be friends. We don't even need to be romantic or partners. I just don't want to lose you. And it was like I was so, like I had some major anxious attachment with him. Which, interesting enough, before him, I was avoidant most of my life, and I was always the one disconnecting and leaving first before anyone else could hurt me. And then this was like before him, actually, I went through my first like heartbreak, and I met him shortly after, and then I couldn't let go. I was so attached, and my anxiety was just out the roof. It was through the roof, and it's funny. I said I was going to stop talking, and here I am. But I do have more things to say, I guess. But yeah, so that felt really good to be able to set a very firm boundary. And beyond a boundary, it was a wall. Because I've set many boundaries before. If you will not talk to me like this is what I want and need from a relationship with you. If we're going to be in contact, I just was constantly disrespected and neglected and reliving my deepest core wounds and hoping that it would change eventually. But it did not. And he's got some growing up to do. It's gonna be some time before he's on his path. I wish him the best, truly, but I don't know. It's like I had to go through that to really solidify my sense of self and worth outside of him, and wanting him to want me or to make it work or whatever, and like fix something or solve something. It's like it was not fixable because this person was not meeting you in the same space. I made myself so vulnerable. I was so clear about what I needed and wanted, but he wasn't caring enough to like learn about these things or do something different. And just like with my parents and a lot of people on this planet, like they just don't put in the effort to do something different because honestly they're being lazy, they're being complacent, they're doing the easier thing, which is to do what they've always done. And it's sad, honestly. It's really sad. And part of me is like, okay, have empathy for these people because they don't feel the same, like I'll bring it into like wanting to understand and like, oh, they're this way because of that, and then and it's like, yeah, at a certain point it's just, no, that's not welcome in my life. I love you, but from afar, and I don't need this in my life, and goodbye, and I just, the fire and empowerment I felt and my ability to be like, no, leave me the fuck alone, all right? I don't want you no more. I don't want nothing to do with you, okay? Like, get out. I rebuke you in the name of all that is holy and light and good, and purifying, cleansing fires for within all of us in situations that are, there's like parasitic energy that's like not equally something that's taking without giving back. Like that's a parasite or a leech, and it's like, we don't, no thank you. None of that is welcome here or in your space. Like we're gonna just like clear all of that parasitic energy and send it back to source, send it back to its wholeness without the need to take from others, and purify, cleansing, transmuting. Yeah, so where's my client's house? They're up here. Okay. But yeah, I'm pulling up. Going to head inside and clean. And yeah, thanks for listening. Thanks for doing your things over there, your work and play. And yeah, we're doing a lot. Doing good. Keep it up. Deep breaths, grounding into the body. Listening to the needs of the moment, to the body, to the breath. Slowing down. Being present, receptive, releasing, receiving, being. Okay. Well, till next time.